This is the Nomadic Traveler Podcast. Welcome to the Nomadic Traveler Podcast. I am your host, Jason, and our wonderful co-host,
Nicole.
And this is part 2 of how climate change affects travel.
Yes, so it's such a good topic that we decided to expand.
Yeah, we decided to divide it in half. So the first half is more kind of local stuff that more kind of locally affects folks in Indiana and in the Midwest. And this is going to be more of, I was going to say global, but it's got some stuff that affects more of the U.S. and stuff like that. And then it also goes more into the global parts.
Yeah. And then also talking about, what can we do, different things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The show was so good that we just had to divide it in half.
Yeah.
So this was originally created to be one episode, but it ended up running a little long. So when we were making it, we did not intend on making it a two-parter. So there may be areas where we reference things. It might sound like we think it's all one show because we did think it was all one show. So, but it turned out to be a two-parter just due to the length. So,
yes.
So we're going to go ahead and plug it into the second half of the same interview that you listened to from last week. So here we go. So, I was reading an article about a lady that went to Glacier National Park last summer. And she's from Orlando, and she was saying she expected to get relief from the muggy weather in Orlando. And she's like, we assumed that we would have mild temperatures at Glacier National Park. And she was like, we could have been more wrong. So, instead of, being in the Rocky Mountains and having nice mild weather, it was 90 plus degrees, and their camper didn't have air conditioning. And they said it was like sitting in a sweatbox. Oh. And she said they just all sat there looking at each other, and they were like, how is it this hot in Glacier National Park?
Right.
It's just like, so, and, and it said, and that's a good question. And it turns out it's more than just a hypothetical one. She works for getgreenbewell.com. Mm-hmm. So, and, it was just saying that extreme weather has become a real wake-up call. Oh, yeah. So, and, record temperatures, they're not limited to places like Montana. The Southwest, endured its highest heat wave in decades. They had, triple digit temperatures, and it actually forced cancellations of flights at Sky Harbor International Airport, which is in Phoenix, Arizona. So it was literally too hot to fly.
So what
have
makes
you ever heard
it...
of that before?
No. Why would it be like, is the air too thick up there, or what is...
Well, so, okay. All right, we'll stick to grounded planes for a minute.
Okay.
Why couldn't the aircraft take off in Phoenix? Well, they can't take off because the jet engines produce less thrust during a heat wave. And because the air is less dense, the plane creates less power. Okay.
Okay.
So, and when you have a full passenger load, it becomes almost impossible to safely take off at temperatures above 100 degrees.
Okay, so is not able to get the lift that it needs to,
so it can't
get off.
Get the lift, yeah. So flying in hot weather, it's also more expensive. So most takeoffs can be achieved using, reduced thrust. So they might be saying doing 95% thrust or something to get the plane to take off in normal weather.
Yeah.
But in temperatures above 95 degrees, pilots have to use maximum thrust. So, this reduces engine life, and it also costs an additional $500 for the plane to take off if it's above 95 degrees.
Wow. So do they charge some people extra? How do they make up for that?
Well, I'm sure they probably do later on in ticket prices. So I don't think they do on that flight.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they eat the cost.
Interesting.
But it pushes the cost of flying up for everybody.
Yeah.
Across the board. If Southwest has a bunch of flights coming out of Phoenix, they probably push up the cost of all their tickets.
Is that why they were kicking people off?
That's what they needed to do. You guys are all going to have to get off.
Hey,
we got to lose 5% of our passengers.
we got to lose some weight. So y'all need to get off.
The biggest people here have to get off.
Ooh, that is sizeism.
That would be cool. Sizeism. New word.
Made that up.
New word coined by Nicole.
Wow. So I never thought about that. That makes sense.
So,
okay.
And it talks about, weather events are becoming more frequent and more severe in many cases. So much of our infrastructure was designed to function in the climate in which it was created. Mm-hmm. So, and because of this, roads that never flooded 10 years ago are now flooding in everyday rainstorms. Planes that were designed for with the climate that we had now are not designed to withstand to take off in 100-degree plus heat.
Because think about it too, aren't planes, they hold a lot of fuel because they use a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
So you're hanging up in the atmosphere up in the air and it's hot and you have all this fuel inside of it. Like,
what, do you think it's going to explode or something?
Do you think so?
The article did not talk about exploding planes.
They didn't want to scare you.
I think Nicole's just making stuff up.
I'm thinking about that though. That might be a thing.
You're thinking about exploding planes? Oh my gosh.
I'm thinking about what if that happened.
Nicole is scared to death to fly, everybody.
I am.
She just kind of makes up whatever she can along the way. She just grasps at straws because she wants every excuse she can possibly
See, no, I love
See,
this.
you can't get on planes now because they explode. And when it gets above 100 degrees, I can't fly.
If it's hot, it's not going to take off. Your butt's going to drag.
It's not going to take off. Your butt's going to be dragging down the runway, I tell you what.
Ooh. Okay, but that is a goal of mine. And I'm going to throw this out there for listeners.
Is to fly?
I want to take a flight by the end of 2019. By the end of this year.
If you'd like to fly with Nicole, please contact Nomadic Traveler Podcast at gmail.com.
It's going to happen.
And you can fly with a terrified Nicole.
Whatever. Do you like flying?
The Nomadic Traveler Podcast will not be playing for your ticket.
You do not like flying, so don't even talk to me.
I am not a fan of flying, but I get air sick. So I'm not scared to fly, and I'm definitely not scared of 100 degrees. But I get air sick, and I get sick to my stomach, and there's nothing more fun than being on an airplane full of a ton of other people and then puking your brains out.
Yeah, not a fun time.
No, I find it to be a little embarrassing.
It happens to a lot of people. Whatever.
It happens to the best of us.
Hey, but just use these excuses.
I don't use excuses. I'll fly if I have to, but I definitely, I avoid it if at all possible.
Yeah, I hear that.
So
avoidance is the best policy.
And the way, I do it is I try to get direct flights. So I don't, I don't do layovers and stuff like that. And I don't do, one time up, one time down, get off the plane,
Call it a day.
If you're lucky, you won't get sick. If you do get sick, at least you're just getting sick the one time. Because it seems, for me, the more ups and downs there are, landings and takeoffs, the worse it gets. So if I got one layover, or God forbid, 2 layovers, I'm much sicker by the time I get to my destination.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah.
I try to do directs.
Okay.
But I'm not scared like Nicole.
Well, a future podcast, I will take a flight and I'll let you guys know what happens.
We're going to take a microphone with us and we're going to mic Nicole up and we're going to listen to
no.
her scream.
I don't think I'll scream. Maybe I'll be like in a fetal position or something.
And then we'll listen to the flight attendants tell her that she's going to have to get off the flight.
I flew a lot as a kid.
Oh, you did? I thought you'd never flown at all.
No, I have flown. So when I was a kid, my grandparents lived in Florida and they would fly us out almost every summer. To hang out or whatever, chill with them, and
chill
on the golf course.
Chill with the golf course. Wow.
Yeah, they lived on a golf course with
I didn't know Nicole was so bougie.
It was fun. That's not bougie, okay? And
flying and being on a golf course is not bougie.
Okay.
I guess you didn't take your own private jet, so
right. And so I did it a lot, and I would scream all up and down the little what's that called?
Aisle.
The
aisle on the plane?
No, not on the plane. Right before you get on the plane, the little walkway.
The concourse?
The concourse. Yep, that word. The English. It's so good. So I don't think I would do that, though. I just...
Not only is Nicole poor at math, she's poor at English as well. But it is her second language, everybody, so,
What I lack in English and maths, I make up for in... I don't know.
She can't think of anything.
Probably personality. So.
Oh man, that was good. That was great.
Sit on a tack.
That was awesome. I love when people try to defend themselves and then literally go silent. That is the best.
Okay, so climate change. What you got?
Wow, you derailed all that, didn't you? Okay. So so how do you fly during extreme weather? How do you do it? Do you know?
What do you mean? How do you do it?
How do you fly during extreme weather? Or how do you travel? Sorry, how do you travel during extreme weather?
Most people don't.
Well, there's nothing you can do to
Yeah.
change climate, at least in the short term. But there are, a few things that you can do to keep the disruptions, to a minimum.
Okay.
So, my advice is if you're concerned about an early thaw this winter, you need to plan your ski trip earlier in the year. So don't go on the fringes. When you think, it might be okay, it might not be. You're going to have to make sure you plan it for February. Don't plan it for March.
Right.
Don't plan that on the outside, on the outskirts. You're going to have to make sure you do it in the snow season.
Which, one thing I think about with that, though, is if everybody's trying to do that, then that's going to skyrocket like prices for things.
It's going to make things a little more packed up.
Yeah.
It sure will.
Because everybody wants to go, and there's a limited time, and a lot of people that want to do it.
Well, maybe you need to decide if you really like skiing or not.
I want to try it, but
Nicole loves skiing.
I
That's why she's been so many times.
definitely don't see it as a strong suit, but I'm willing to try.
If you'd like to go skiing with Nicole, please contact us at Nomadic Traveler
Is that going to be our new segment?
at gmail.com.
Going blank with Nicole.
Going anywhere with Nicole. That would be a good segment. Maybe we will start doing that.
Exploring something new with Nicole.
We'll have a new listener go somewhere that you've never been.
I mean, I'm always down to try new things. So.
I think the flying would be the best one. We have to mic you all up. Just let you scream
know.
on the plane. Oh, man, that'd be the best.
I don't think you want to see that.
So no, we won't see it. We'll listen to it.
I don't think you want to hear it.
Listen to you cry. The plane's so high.
I want out. No, I don't see myself crying. I see myself being like, I want out of this. I want out of this. I want out of this.
Well, that's one thing. Once it takes off, there's literally nothing you can do. You just have to sit there
and suffer.
Woosah. You just gotta. What's the movie? Goose Fraba? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah.
What's that from? I can't think of what that's from now.
Yeah.
Goose Fraba.
Or just like maybe drink a little before I get on. That would be helpful.
So, other tips are, if you're going to take a Caribbean cruise, take it in December or January and don't take it on the fringes. So that way you can for sure stay clear of, hurricane season. There are things that you can do to try to kind of offset some of the worry from climate change.
Yep. Could you imagine being in a cruise in a hurricane?
You'd be puking then too.
I was just thinking that.
You'd be puking then. I went on a Disney cruise, and they said that 2 weeks before the cruise that we were on, they said that they had to take everything off of all the shelves in the gift shop because the seas were so bad.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh my gosh, if it's like that, I'm going to cry. So, because not only do I get airsick, I also get seasick. So if the boat starts a rocking,
don't come knocking.
Don't come a knocking.
Stay away from Jason.
Because I'm going to be chucking.
Oh, God.
So, the co-executive of Smart Tours, the tour operator, he says that his clients are coming and asking him more and more about last chance destinations that are threatened, by climate change.
Yep.
He said, we hear a lot from clients that want to see South Africa because so many animals are endangered and because drought conditions are changing the continent and the way of life. Another big one is, Venice.
Okay.
You know what Venice is?
Yes. I know it's like a city.
How do they get around?
On a boat.
No, they do get around on a boat.
You didn't think I knew that.
I'm just double checking.
See, I know the things, the histories.
So Venice is another example of an endangered destination. With global warming and rising seas, Venice already floods multiple times a year. So it's only a matter of time before the wonderful destination sees drastic changes.
Oh, that'd be sad.
You better start getting some of these places on your bucket list.
That's where they have the gondolas?
That's where they have the gondolas, yeah.
And they sing to you?
And I saw your boy.
And they give you a baguette?
A baguette.
Or bread of some sort.
I don't know about the bread.
No bread?
I
Okay.
think that might be something.
Still worth it, though.
I've never been there, so I wouldn't know.
Well, you better go.
But I do think maybe they sing to you. Maybe.
That's beautiful.
That might just be something they've made up in the movies.
Well, they do that on the canal downtown. Have you ever done that?
No.
So in Indianapolis Canal, they sing to you. And they float you down the boat, down the river.
I did not know that.
Yeah. One of my friends is a boat guy down there.
And he sings to people?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gone on his boat and let him sing to you?
No.
No.
Nope.
You should have.
I'm good on that.
So,
Just eat the baguette from the side.
and one other tip I got too.
Okay.
It helps to understand your rights when extreme weather delays your trip. So many travel companies have act of God clauses that let them off the hook for weather-related delays or cancellations. So, in the fine print in the airline's contract or the cruise's ticket, it essentially means that the company can cancel your trip without having to cover any of your expenses or even get you to the destination. So another thing, is it's probably, as time goes by and things get worse, I recommend having, a good travel insurance policy. So I think that would make, your trips, that's how you deal with this kind of stuff is
being prepared.
you be prepared. And then that way you can make the best of a bad situation. If you have travel insurance, you can, do something else. Okay, this happened, so now we're going to do this. We can't go to Brown County State Parks. We're going to go to Indianapolis for the day.
Yeah.
We're going to go hang out in downtown.
And I think we talked about that a little bit in the international episode of kind of just like knowing that these things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And kind of being okay with that, but we might have to increase our ability to stay calm.
Yeah.
It seems harder and harder.
Goosefraba.
Ooh, what's that?
You're going to have to learn to be patient.
Wow, that's some good advice.
Seems like that's getting better or more and more crucial as life goes on.
Did you say that was called the honest to God clause? What did you say?
The act of God.
Act of God clause. Interesting.
So many travel companies have act of God clauses.
Interesting.
So you never heard that before?
No, I never heard that.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them have act of God clauses. So if you pay for some kind of a trip, or, say they're having horrible weather at some destination in the Caribbean and you're on a cruise, they can skip your stop. So, like right now in the news, all the people are getting sick in the Dominican Republic. If they issue some kind of a travel warning, they can skip that stop.
Oh.
That's an act of God. They don't have any control over people getting sick in the Dominican Republic. That might have been your favorite stop. They don't have to actually take you there. They can skip your stop, and they don't have to give you any kind of refund. You're just out your stop.
That makes sense.
So if you're on a trip that only has 2 stops or something like that, and that was your, one of your stops, or it only had 1 stop, now you might just be going out and cruising around on a boat for a couple of days and then just coming back and you have no stop at all.
You're just on the boat the entire time.
And they may consider that an act of God, and they may not have to give you any kind of money back for that at all.
Wow.
So
I mean, I get it because some things they can't control, right? But yeah,
I just think that as things get worse with climate change and stuff like that, I think there's going to be more and more events that meet the act of God scenario.
Yeah, true.
So
interesting.
So you want to do a don't do that?
You have a don't do that?
Well, we're going to change things around, and we're going to do a please do this.
Ooh, so make a negative a positive.
So we're going to try to show you some ways to kind of cope with things. So we have 7 ways to help combat climate change as a traveler.
So please do these. Okay.
So please do this. So instead of don't do that, we're going to have please do this.
I love it. Yes.
So the first thing I got is consider your carbon footprint.
Okay.
So the reason why tourism contributes so much to climate change is because of the transportation industry, and it's responsible for the majority of carbon dioxide emissions, which are typically the most detrimental type of greenhouse gas. So, and the biggest polluter is flying, So, but it's not always easy to say, hey, don't fly.
Okay. Yeah.
So, what are you supposed to do? You still got to travel. So you still got to do things.
Yeah.
So, my thing is when you fly, find the most direct routes. Don't have layovers. So if the plane's going up and down, up and down, up and down 3 times, that the taking off is the part that produces the most gas. Cruising isn't that big of a deal.
Up there.
So find a direct route. And then, who wants a layover anyways?
No one.
That's, nobody likes that. So, pack as light as possible. Okay. Prioritize airlines that use flights that use newer planes. Newer planes produce less emissions. So these are ways that you can help that doesn't really affect you that much, Everybody wants direct flights anyway, so that's almost like a bonus.
Yeah.
So you can
yeah.
be like, I'm sorry, I can't do a layover there.
That's how you justify spending the
I
extra money.
have to have the direct flight. I don't want to pollute.
I'm saving the whales.
I'm saving the whales, darling. So it gives you an excuse to be bougie.
I know you like those.
Like Nicole.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. They don't even know.
So, tip number 2, stay one place longer.
Oh, okay.
So, related to keeping your carbon footprint in mind when you're planning to travel, also consider how you can lessen your footprint and your overall impact by staying somewhere longer. You know, that's just an unbelievable bonus anyways. Why would you not want to stay somewhere longer?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get.
Nicole's like, I can't take that much time off of work.
No, but I think that, goes into really exploring a place.
Well, and that's what I say too. So you get to know a place better. So, okay, so here's an example. Instead of going to London, Paris, and Amsterdam in 3 different trips, pick one city and focus on it. This lessens your carbon footprint, and it also gives the opportunity to get to know that particular city much better.
Yeah.
So, and also when you stay in one spot longer, you don't feel as pressed for time. So you feel more relaxed. It's more enjoyable. And you know what? You might be a little more willing to take a walk, ride a bike.
Yeah.
Use some kind of eco-friendly transportation, get an electric scooter,
Right, yeah. And the wandering aspect of it too, like we talked about in a previous episode.
And get to know the city by walking through the city.
Yeah, you can kind of actually see more things.
Yeah.
Because I think that's an American or maybe just a 20th century way of life. It's like, oh, I got to do all these things so I can say I did them all. But then I don't remember any of them.
Yeah.
Versus you could go to one city for a while and have a lot of good stories.
I like the idea of being able to have a more involved, in-depth, trip somewhere too, and getting to know the culture and immersing yourself in the culture a little more. I find that stressful. That's what I don't like about travel is when you feel so stressed and you're like, okay, we have 7 days and we need to hit 3 cities. So that means we have 2 days in each city, which means we have to cram as much stuff into every single day as possible because we really only get, 1 or 2 days in each city.
Right. That makes sense.
Because then you end up with more travel, you get up with more flights, you get up with more, train time. If you're in Europe, you got to travel by train.
Yeah.
It'd be so much nicer just to say, okay, we're just going to go to London, and maybe in a year or 2, maybe we'll go to Paris.
Yeah.
Instead of, trying to do, back to back to back to back, trips. Stay in one place longer.
And you might meet like the locals more and think, be able to interact with people more.
I think it creates much better trip,
awesome.
much better environment, much better.
However, for people who are checking off some type of list, if you are checking off a bucket list.
Spread your bucket list out a little bit.
Yeah.
Spread it out. And go to places that are going to be, affected by climate change faster than others.
Or if you can work into, as I know we talked before, I know in the beginning of our podcast about like longer vacations, mini retirements, instead of like, short vacations all life. So if you can take 3 months off and go to Europe and travel around and not have to fly from place to place to place, maybe you're just like, moving slowly from place to place to place or whatever, then
maybe you can ride your bike from London to Paris.
Oh, that's a
I don't know how far that is, but I got a feeling it's pretty far.
You know how I said I like to try new things? Not that one.
If you'd like to see Nicole ride her bike from London to Paris, please contact us at nomadictravelerpodcast@gmail.com. You can sponsor Nicole riding her bike from London to Paris.
See, I don't like these things.
We'll attach a microphone to her and we'll listen to her.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see how it is. I still do want to do that mini triathlon. So this could help out.
If you'd like to sponsor Nicole doing a triathlon, please contact.
And by triathlon, we mean mini. No, it's like called a try.
You want to do many triathlons?
No.
Many? How many you want to do?
It's a try. 10? No.
20?
A 1?
Oh, 1.
I want to do a try is what it's actually called.
What's a try?
So you
try?
you
That
try.
means you're just going to try it and be like, oh, I can't do this. It's too hard.
It's a triathlon. So you're
hard.
trying. It's
I'm
like
trying, but it's too hard.
Okay. All right.
No, please tell us. How's it work?
So it's just only, I think it's like 3 miles of running which, I mean,
That sounds pretty bad by itself,
I
but
mean,
okay.
and then I think it's like 500 meters in the pool, which isn't terrible. And then it's like 7 miles of biking. So it's like really, really reduced.
Okay.
And it's for people who are trying it for the first time. So
you're trying it out.
Yeah, you're trying to see if you can survive, which I don't know if I could survive, but I'm into like trying that. So
Okay.
we'll see. We digress.
You want to know what number 3 is?
I do. What is it?
Number 3 is say no to single-use plastics.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
and I got some pretty good examples. So I got some good alternatives to single-use plastics.
Okay.
So use a reusable water bottle.
Hmm.
So go get your water bottle filled up, put some ice in it. Don't use disposable water bottles constantly.
As I'm sitting here looking at 3 water bottles on my desk.
No comment.
Oh, wait, let's count yours.
No comment.
1, 2, 3.
So, I
7.
mean, they have cool things like, the camelbacks that you can put on and stuff. So that might be a good way to, take water around with you.
Yeah.
So you could also use a collapsible coffee mug.
Oh.
Do you drink coffee, Nicole?
I do.
Because I do not. So, but if you tend to go get coffee a lot on your travels, consider packing your own collapsible coffee mug that you can reuse. So it'll let you cut down on all those to-go cups, lids, and sleeves.
And a lot of times, if you do bring your own coffee cup, it's cheaper. They'll give you like a discount
I didn't know that.
to refill it. So it's like
Is
it's
this the
called-
Starbucks?
Yeah, but I think other places probably do it too. But if you bring your own reusable, like it has to be from their like company or whatever. You don't just bring in your old mug from home, but you got to bring in one that's like a Starbucks cup. They'll refill it for you, and then you get a little discount. So.
As long as you make sure you bring it with you every time.
Yep.
Will they wash it for you if it's dirty? Like if you left it sitting in your car for like 3 weeks? Can you take it in there? Will they wash them off for
I
you?
don't think that's that's not a thing. That's cross contamination.
See, Starbucks, you need to get on that. Sponsor, not sponsor.
But if you want to be,
But if you want to be,
we're here for you.
please contact us at nomadtravelerpodcast@gmail.com.
I like the iced Americanos.
If you'd like to buy Nicole an iced Americano.
See, that's something I can get down for. All right.
So the next thing is a foldable bag. So it makes super simple to stuff a reusable bag into your backpack or suitcase. And these are great for shopping in markets.
Oh, okay.
So you bring one of those little fold-up bags and, that way you're not constantly bringing plastic bags home. So plastic bags are a huge waste.
Well, and I like those reusable too because you can usually fit more in them.
You
So
can fit
less
more
trips.
in them, and it's not going to bust out on you when you're carrying stuff into your house.
Yeah.
Nobody
been there.
likes that.
Yep.
So they
That's a
also
good one.
have toiletry tubes. So you can get refillable toiletry tubes. So you can put shampoo, conditioner, and lotion into your own little tubes. You can fill it up from home, and then you're not constantly throwing away travel-sized toiletries. I really like that one a lot because that's really not that big of a sacrifice at all.
No.
That's pretty easy. A lot of these things are really pretty easy. The next one is steel straws. What do you think about steel straws, Nicole?
Do I have to have a comment on this one? Because I have a comment.
You want me to go first?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Okay, I feel better.
So I think they have a
I-
weird taste. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm not into metal in my mouth a whole lot. And then also I worry about cleaning them.
You don't think you can get them clean?
I think you can, but it's just I don't know. I think it's harder.
They have them now where they come with little cleaning brushes and stuff like that, so it makes it a little bit easier to clean them on the go. So
They do, and I do think it's important.
So I don't know. I've met a couple of people that really like them, and they say that they don't think it has any kind of a metal taste. But I think I can taste the metal in it. I don't like it, but
I feel like
they
that's
also have the paper straws too.
see. I feel like the metal. I can be down for that more than the paper.
You don't like the paper either?
I don't like the way paper feels in my mouth.
I'm not a big fan of it either.
I think I'm
Anyways.
just spoiled. Okay, give me a sippy cup.
So,
Somebody,
there
no,
you go.
they have started giving out like a little, Starbucks. Some Starbucks have like the lids that go on that look like a sippy cup instead of like actual straws. But
We're going to take a picture of Nicole drinking out of a sippy cup, and we'll put it up on our
Oh my
Facebook page
gosh.
later.
oh god, what else you
so-
got?
Travel cutlery. Bring your own travel cutlery. So if you're going to a place with lots of yummy street food, consider taking your own reusable cutlery.
Like what's that thing
So,
called? That's like a spork but a
Then
knife.
you can say no to the spork.
No, you could bring one of those.
Well, you could bring one, but you can say no to their sporks.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So, and to go right along with that, bring your own collapsible to-go containers. So cut down on the styrofoam and plastic containers that they give you that all make waste. You could bring your own little collapsible containers to put your restaurant leftovers in.
Okay. That's interesting.
So these are all little sacrifices that you can make that will really make a big difference for our planet.
I like it.
So do you know what else you can do? This next one I really kind of like.
What?
You can eat local.
Oh, okay.
So, food production, the import-export activities and things like that, they contribute huge to climate change. So, and many people don't even think about it. So, in order to cut down on your impact when it comes to food, the best thing you can do is just to eat local and eat fresh.
Okay.
And that's not like Subway eat fresh. That's like really eat fresh.
But you know what? It tastes better.
It tastes better. It's more enjoyable. I like eating things from like local areas. Like, so when I'm in Florida, I like eating fresh seafood in Florida. When I'm in Indiana, I like fresh corn.
Yeah, that's about all
fresh.
We got.
Well, I got tomatoes. They got all kinds of stuff that's good here, but we're best known for the corn.
Yeah.
So, skip the restaurant chain food, skip the processed food. Instead, eat locally as much as possible. That not only cuts down on your carbon footprint, but it's also just healthier. And it's easy too. You know what? Farm to table concept, it's popular all over the world.
It's a thing?
It's popular everywhere. It's a thing. Yes, Nicole, it's a thing.
Sweet sarcastic.
So
I like those. Are a lot of good tips.
So
I like those.
I got a couple more. Yeah.
You got some more?
This is a 7. Yeah, it's a 7-part.
Okay. What else you got?
7-part. What do we call it again? I lost my name.
Please do that.
Please do that.
Please
7
do
parts.
it.
So
okay. What else you got?
I'll start moving a little faster.
Throw them at me.
Another thing that you can do that's not super popular with me, but some of you may like it, is you can consider eating less meat and less dairy when you travel. So meat and dairy production contributes huge to the amount of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. And a recent study concluded that adopting a vegan diet is one of the best ways to reduce your overall impact on the planet.
Okay.
So, and for me, while going vegan isn't right for everyone, it wouldn't be difficult to pledge to check out at least 1 or 2 vegetarian or vegan restaurants on your next trip.
Yeah.
Which I think, I could probably do that. I could probably do 1 or 2. I wouldn't want to do it the whole time, but,
Yeah. And you don't have to eat complete vegan. I mean, they have some places that are like vegan friendly.
Yeah.
So if you want to, maybe you have a burger, but you don't have cheese on the side with your fries. There's ways to reduce it.
I like cheese on my fries.
Okay, but would you rather have a burger or not? I mean, you could just choose. Have you ever had the Impossible Burger?
I have not.
Okay.
Isn't that where is it?
I mean, there are different places that sell it. I forget the guy's name that made it. Mark Wahlberg? Yeah. It's amazing. But yeah, so you wouldn't have to go complete vegan. I think some people think it's, I can't eat anything here.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
Do you want to know what number 5 is?
Sure.
Or do you want to try to guess?
No, I'm real bad at
that. Consider over-tourism. So over-tourism is the latest hot topic in tourism. It refers to the overload of tourists at some of the world's most popular destinations, which has a negative impact on both the destination and your travel experience there. So this might just seem like an annoyance, but in some places where basic services, think sanitation, transportation, preservation, they can't keep up with the visitors, the tourism is having a lasting negative impact on those local environments. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So, these destinations are seeing an influx in flights and tour buses, and it stands to reason that the carbon footprint in these places is rising along with the tourist numbers.
That makes me think of like Washington, D.C.
Or even like some of these little bitty beach towns that you go to that, people can't keep up on these small islands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
The fix to over-tourism isn't to completely stop going there because, they're popular for a reason.
Right.
But, to be more mindful of it and to consider how you can ease the strain a bit. So, I got a couple examples. So,
okay.
Instead of Paris, consider visiting other French cities. Instead of Venice, consider other less crowded Italian cities. Instead of Santorini, go to one of Greece's other islands. Instead
Okay.
of Iceland, go to another island nation. Instead of Bali, go to other parts of Indonesia. Instead of Koh Phi Phi in Thailand, go to another Thai island. So it's not, it doesn't mean you can't go there. It's, maybe spread it out a little bit.
Yeah. And I wonder if you could find like, if it's less popular, you're going to find cool things, hidden things.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I was thinking. If you went to somewhere off the beaten path, you're likely to have a more genuine experience.
Enjoying it. Yeah.
So,
That's a good one.
You
That's not something I would have thought about.
So, and if if you got your heart set on going to a destination, then consider going to it in the off season or on a shoulder season when it's less crowded.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So,
Which you kind of want to do anyways.
That's what I was going to say. Again, it's easy. It's like taking direct flights. It's something, who wants to be there when it's all super crowded anyways?
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know anybody that's like, yes, I want to go to.
So a lot of
Disneyland,
these are, very easy tweaks that you can make that get you a more enjoyable trip, and it also gets the world to be a better place.
Yeah. I like it.
So, Number 6. What do you think number 6 is?
Dun, dun, dun. Pack less.
Support businesses that are committed to responsible tourism.
Okay. Ooh, like hotel. Okay, you know how the hotels started where you can put out the sign that says like we want to be green or whatever.
Correct.
Don't clean our room every day.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and it also helps the hotel because then they have to do less laundry and less maid service. So, bonus
Less
for
money.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bonus for them. More money in the pocket.
That makes sense. That's a good idea though. Yeah.
So, a lot of people assume that only big policy changes can truly help slow down climate change. But, I believe that our voices as travelers are stronger than many of us realize. So, if you take steps to reduce your carbon footprint, it's important to support travel companies and businesses who are dedicated to doing the same.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So you can make a difference by choosing a hotel that are committed to lessening their impacts. Like Nicole just said, a lot of hotels are going green and are usually locally owned boutique hotels, which means you are being extra sustainable by choosing them over big chain hotels.
And then what is that going to do? That's going to make other hotels want to catch on. Why are they getting more business than us?
Correct.
Maybe because they're doing these green things.
Because they're taking care of the environment.
Yeah.
So it sends the message, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in where the money is.
Where we're putting our money. Yeah, that makes sense. I
So,
like that.
Start more conversations about climate change, which is number 7. So, and this is one of the most important things. So, lastly, we need to talk more about climate change. And as travelers, we need to contribute to it. So, and it also affects, the places that we see and the places that we visit. So, and I realize that climate change, it's kind of a touchy subject, and one that kind of often seems taboo and has been somewhat politicized lately.
Right.
So, bring it up in casual conversation. According to the Nature Conservancy, 7 in 10 Americans believe that climate change is real and it's happening. Yet less than half of us talk about it frequently. So, how do you start talking about it? The Nature Conservancy has a guide called Let's Talk Climate Change. So you can read that over if you like to give you some tips and some ideas for, bringing this up and having conversations with people while you're out traveling. The tip that resonates with me the most as a traveler is connections outweigh facts. And this doesn't mean that hard facts should be ignored, but facts don't move hearts alone.
Yeah.
And as a podcaster, I know that I have a unique platform here to connect with, travelers on topics that I care about. But you can find those connection points with regular travelers too. We are all seeing physical evidence of climate change all over the world, such as Brown County State Park being closed this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to see. So it's something important to talk about, and it's something that we all need to take seriously because we only have one planet.
Right. And I think too, like as a family, how a lot of families will go and visit the same place every year.
Yeah.
Things like that. And you see things changing. So talking not even necessarily to other travelers, which is great, but also to your own family and your kids.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, Because kids don't, I mean, sometimes they don't really feel the impact. You know, they might hear us talk about it, but they're like, whatever, who cares? Like, I'm worried about this and that. But if it's like, okay, next year when we come back, you might not be able to go skiing.
Yeah.
You know, or you might not be able to go fishing anymore. You know, if we point these things out to our kids who are the next generation.
Or if they get used to right now bringing to-go boxes with them to restaurants or something
Truth.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just going to be something you've done since you were young, you know?
It's not going to be weird
it's
to
not
drink
gonna
out
be,
of a metal
weird.
straw.
Yeah. It's just going to be
Because-
something
yeah.
you've done since you were a kid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like talking to others, but also talking to our families and our friends and
those are the people
things
that are
like
really
that.
going to be affected the most by this is the young people in the world.
right, for sure.
So,
That's a good tip.
You know.
I do like that one.
yeah.
Because even just like doing this show, I've realized a lot of things I never knew.
A
'Cause I
lot
just
of
don't-
things.
I just don't talk about it. I try to kind of actually like not pay attention. 'Cause
Even
it's
just
kinda
really
sad.
sitting back and thinking about the farming numbers and then realizing that we just set another record for tornadoes and how much rainfall there's really been and why is the state park closed. And
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you see these things on the news and it's just like, oh, it's just another thing that flashes by. But until we actually sit here and have a conversation about it, you're like, man, this is real.
Yeah. This
Big
is a
things are
thing.
happening and I don't really like it.
Yeah. And it's like happening close to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's
It's not in Florida. It's not, you know, in Venice.
yeah.
It's right here. It's
Here.
down the street. You can see the cornfield less than a mile from here that is all flooded out, and it's got a big spot in the middle of it where there's standing water, and there's no corn growing in it.
Yeah. Little babies.
Little baby corn nuggets.
I was so happy when they finally planted it.
I know, I was too, actually. I
And
was
then-
like, yes, go get them.
And then they got like little baby green leaves. And
Little baby leaves.
you just kind of want to go out and give them like an umbrella.
They're
but-
so cute.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
It might happen.
So,
That's a good tip, though. That's probably the best one, I think.
what? Which one?
Talking to people.
Talking to people?
Talking about it. I think that's the best.
See, I wanted to make you talk about it.
Because I like talking. Is that why?
No, I wanted to make you talk about it. I got to make you say it
Oh, okay. I see.
because that's the tip. Talking about it.
I'm into that.
So, all right. So now it's time for
Today.
today's fleeting gem.
What's a fleeting gem?
Fleeting gem are places that are going to disappear soon because of climate change.
Oh, so things on that bucket list. huh?
So, yeah, so these are things that you might want to put on your bucket list now and go see because they're likely going to be gone. So,
Okay, so maybe they're not like a small place that no one knows. It's just like a place that
it's not undiscovered, no, but it's something that is likely to disappear.
no one might know it in like 20 years.
So, yeah, so I did a lot of research on this because I wasn't sure. I thought about doing multiple ones, but, you know, the hidden gem is usually one thing. So the fleeting gem is also going to be one thing.
Okay.
So the one that through all my research came up to be the most highest at risk, most immediately due to disappear and change the quickest is the Maldives.
Oh.
So since 1970, the Maldives have primarily been known as one of the luscious and most remote exotic places to visit for a luxury beach and island vacation resort. But while the Maldives are gorgeous, they are and a true marvel to visit. The archipelago is the lowest lying country in the world. Wow. Did you know that?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Dang, I
So-
should have said I did. Just kidding.
The nation is only how much? How much do you think? They're only 4 feet above sea level.
4 feet?
4 feet. The whole nation is only 4 feet above sea level. So
Wait, has that always been that, or it's like sinking? And
no,
that's
it's not
where we're
sinking.
at?
The ocean's
Well,
rising.
I mean, like, yeah, it's sinking. I
It's not
mean, like,
sinking.
okay, I don't know.
You're so silly.
But like, has it always been like that?
So, well, no,
It's always been-
it probably used to be 6 feet, but now it's 4 feet.
4 feet.
Yeah, so it's only 4 feet above sea levels, which means if things keep rising the way they have been, the Maldives will likely be the first nation to be swallowed underwater and becoming the first modern era Atlantis. Wow. So
That's mind blowing.
I suggest that you visit before the only Atlantis theme park left is a bad resort chain.
Oh, dun dun dun.
Ow. So,
Dang, 4 feet.
yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's not good.
So does it say, like, how many years they project? Like 2030 or?
It did not, but at the rate the sea is rising, I'm guessing, yeah, maybe, say 20 or something.
20 more years?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
by the time
and then I've got a couple other ones too, which we may do some fleeting gems. We may make this like a theme for, like, say, the next couple episodes or something like that. And I may do some other fleeting gems on other episodes.
Yeah. Because we need to know. We only have 20 years.
I got 20 years to go. We need to know now.
No, that's serious. Especially thinking about your kids and, are they ever going to get to see it?
Yeah. I mean, think about that. 20 years, that's like no time.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Okay. We're not going to Disney. We're going to the Maldives.
Sorry, kids, we're not going to Disney this year. We're going to the Maldives.
Disney might not be there later on either.
Disney will be there for a little while longer. Disney will be around for 100 years. Maldives are only going to be around for 20.
Wow.
So,
But I mean, that actually is a way to have a conversation with your kids too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's sit down and choose our spot together, but this is why we're picking from this list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, in closing, seeing the world first person and meeting people who are different on the surface can shake, us as tourists up and out of our trivial day-to-day concerns. That guy cut me off in traffic, my boss is a jerk, and it can build recognition that climate change, it doesn't care about man-made borders.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. We're all sink or swim together.
Yep. So true.
It is a global thing.
Mm-hmm. We're all in this together.
So, we really had a good time putting this one together, and this is a show that is, near and dear to us. So, we hope that everybody appreciates it. If anybody has any, tips, ideas, I know I joke about the Nomadic Traveler podcast at gmail.com, but it is a real email address. And
and especially if anybody has more knowledge on this type of subject, I would love to
we'd
learn
love to
more.
hear about it. Yeah, for sure.
This was probably my favorite thing to look up and research.
Yeah.
So far.
Other than the Indy 500. I really like the Indy 500.
But I mean, because this is stuff that you hear about constantly, but you don't see it in your everyday life all the time.
Yeah.
And travel is so important to me that the fact that it is affecting that is crazy.
I'd like to see it be a little less politicized too. So, this isn't a political thing. This is, this is a thing that affects us as a planet.
This is we
as
are
a whole,
people and we should be loving each other.
This is a human thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Love everybody.
So.
Wow. Yeah. This has been one of my favorites. For sure.
Me too. So.
Sure.
And as always, we want to thank everybody for listening. Should we let's do some shout outs. What we got? Oh, we got new listeners in Japan, y'all.
Japan.
We got new listeners in Japan.
Shout out Japan.
Everybody in Japan, we just want to say hey, and we love you, and thank you for picking us up.
Yes, for sure. We also got some new listeners in New York.
New listeners in New York. Mm-hmm. Let's see, where else did we have? Sweden. I think we had new listeners in Sweden.
A few. We had some.
Norway was the new one. So we have new listeners in Norway, new listeners in Japan, new listeners in Italy. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate all of you out there. And we love that the podcast is becoming more of a global thing, and it's not just a U.S. thing.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Because I love hearing other perspectives. So it'd be cool, to hear from you guys that are in other places that have different worldly views.
Yes, please reach out to us. Tell us how climate change is affecting you in your area. We would love to hear about it, and, we'd love to put it on another show. So
yeah,
we may do a follow-up to this.
Yeah, climate change part 2.
Part 2.
PT.
Which this one's kind of long anyway, so maybe we'll divide it up into 2 segments.
Yeah. But thank you guys, seriously, for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
How long was it?
Uh-oh. Oh, it didn't stop.
Dope. That ain't gonna work.
And one last thing that I wanted to add is if you guys leave us a 5-star review with comments on iTunes we will read it live on the air. And if you send us an email to nomadictraveler@gmail.com with information about things that we talked about in this episode, we will also read it live on the air. Thanks again. See you next week.